you ever measured your daily productivity based on how many tasks you checked off your to-do list, only to get to the end of the week feeling drained and somewhat dissatisfied with life? Well, I've been there too, and it got me wondering, why is that? Now, you see, I think it's because we've been sucked into the trap of believing that productivity is just about getting stuff done. Spoiler alert, I don't think it is. So if productivity isn't about just getting stuff done, then what is it about? That's what we're going to look at in this episode. I want to examine why being super productive leaves us feeling dissatisfied, why aiming to get more done in less time isn't making us more productive, and most importantly, I want to tap into what productivity should be about. So grab your cuppa and let's get to it. The truth is, we cannot maximize every last moment of our day. It's just not possible. So if you're trying to time block every minute in your schedule, you're going to find out that you'll end up burning out pretty quickly. But it's not just an obvious case of burnout that we should be concerned about. There's the fact that being hyper productive can leave us dissatisfied because we're just checking a bunch of stuff off a to-do list, and it's usually stuff that isn't that fulfilling if we're honest with ourselves. Yes, we can feel the satisfaction of checking a whole load of hard/boring tasks off a list that we've had to put quite a lot of effort into. Yes, there is some satisfaction in that, but the problem is that's not going to be the greatest motivator in terms of actually wanting to get stuff done. Okay, so instead of maximizing every last minute of our waking hours to get as much stuff done in the day, checking off our to-do list like some kind of productivity machine, then what should we do instead? Well, the opposite of that might mean that we try cramming in as much as possible into the smallest amount of time as possible with the help of multitasking. Which brings us to the tagline, get more done in less time, which actually isn't making us more productive, weirdly enough. You see, get more done in less time with less stress. It's a great tagline touted by many productivity guru, and it's usually the subtitle of one of their best-selling books. But it's not actually making us more productive when we try to do that, because most people interpret it as multitasking. However, no one can multitask. It's just not possible for our human brains to focus on multiple tasks at once. What we're actually doing when we say multitasking is performing a succession of task switching, moving from one task to the next, to the next, to the next, rather than doing a whole bunch of things simultaneously. Now, the problem with this is that our brains actually have a limit on the amount of energy supplied to it. Who knew our brains use 20% of our energy just for thinking? Wild, right? But if you are thinking more and task switching more, it doesn't mean that your brain is getting more energy supplied to it in order for you to be able to navigate that task switching. You see, what your brain is actually going to do is limit the amount of energy going to tasks that are outside the attention focus. And that's where things like inattentive blindness can come in, where you're so focused on one task and your brain is using its energy to help you get through that task that it doesn't notice the gorilla or the human being in the gorilla costume running past in the background, even though it is quite clearly in plain sight. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up I think it's the gorilla costume experiment. You'll find it on YouTube, and it shows exactly what inattentive blindness is, how it can affect us all, and it shows what is actually happening in our brain in terms of it only has a limited energy supply, and it will just switch off energy going to anything that is outside our attention focus. Hopefully I've said all of that right. I'm not a neuroscientist. I'm just someone who loves looking into this data and researching it and seeing how I can improve my life through other people doing amazing studies that tell me how my brain works and how I can improve myself. So anyway, This explains why we're not being more productive when we're task switching / multitasking, because of the way in which our brains send energy to our attention focus. So what is productivity about if it's not about getting more things done? According to Ali Abdaal, in his latest book, Feel Good Productivity, productivity is about, well, feeling good. You see, when you feel good, you're going to approach your tasks with more enthusiasm, more creativity, and a more positive mindset. This is where the broaden and build theory devised by psychologist Barbara Fredrickson comes into play. Now, I've come across this theory in a few other books, such as Feel Good Productivity, but also in The Gap in the Gain by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. The theory suggests that positive emotions allow us to see more possibilities and take in more information. These positive emotions can help us build new skills and resources that can provide value in other areas of our lives. Over time, this broadening and building leads to lasting emotional resilience and satisfaction. And here's where the kicker is, because resilience and satisfaction are two of the character traits of productive people. And so, friend, if we want to be more productive, it looks like what we need to do is first tap into feeling more positive. And that is what productivity is about.